All right. Okay. I am so happy for you that you've discovered something new and exciting, which are plastic fish. But you're making it difficult to get around in here, Turbo. We got stuff to do. Thank you. Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here. How's everybody doing well? I'm great. Talking fast. Got a lot to do. Lots of little things. So in last Saturday's video, I should say, where do I even start? Cleaned out the garden, put down mulch, set up a greenhouse, moved the more cold-tolerant plants into the greenhouse, and then put a new heater, which I didn't film that part, but put a new heater in the grow space. In that process, I had to clear this whole area out in order to get a bunch of ladders in here. The thing's quite heavy. So what I really just need to do is put everything back together. I have a bunch of plant rearranging to do because we're supposed to have a low temperature coming up of maybe between 12 and 15 degrees. That's Fahrenheit, which means that my mule palm, which is outside currently covered in snow, is going to need to come in. Probably should have brought it in already, but it's taken snow before. I don't usually worry about it until it drops below like 18, 17, somewhere in there. If you wanted to know what I'm talking about, this is the mule. That's the mule palm right there. Lots of snow. It's been snowing all day. Been working on making a path in here. I have been saying in the last few videos I need to reorganize. That's what I've been working on. I got to a point where I was like, well, I should probably pick up the camera and bring y'all along for some of this. So I have basically everything right here. It needs to go somewhere else. These are Washingtonia palms. They're not going to do well on this side of the grow space. Things aren't as well lit over here. So they're going to need to go probably down over here where there's some natural light, and things do tend to stay more dry down there. Where they would prefer to be. And I have all these begonias here, these gorgeous begonias from Southern Living, and I think I'm going to put them up on the grow racks, assuming there's room for them. So let's shut that garage door before I go on any further. 22 degrees outside. Don't need that door open for any longer than it needs to be. I was thinking with the 4 of these that I have, they might do well up here on that top shelf. Might be a good spot for them. I think that foliage would look nice up there too, that silvery tone. So yeah, I'm gonna let this run for several more minutes, warm things up a few degrees in here, then I can shut it off, get mic'd up, and we're gonna move some plants around, plant some plants, and probably do some repots and some fertilizing. Just all kinds of things. There's gonna be a whole bunch of plant stuff going on. Okay, first things first, I have some new thermometers here, some temperature sensors. Need to get these set up. Got my number 2 and my number 3. This is a Govee H5179s. I don't know if I could say I recommend them. Last year I went through quite a few of these, but prior to that, they used to last me for a few years. I don't know if these are gonna be garbage or not. Now I have one in the greenhouse that belongs in here. I need to go get that one. Swap it out with number 2. Number 3 is just gonna give us readings, whatever's going on outside. Are you excited? Oh, he loves the snow. There you go. Go play in the snow. I should probably move the windmill palm inside too. I don't know. It should be able to handle that. It's in a container though. Let's very least put something over it. Alright. Let's see here. Oh, it feels warm. That's good. Not very warm, like, I don't know, 50? But that's warm enough. Oh, you're not going to be able to see anything I'm doing. There's no way. It's really dark in here. I had to unplug the lights so that I could plug in this heater over here. Don't want to waste too much electricity out here. The breaker will blow. That's the main reason. Alright, get back out here where there's some light. And so I can see what's going on here. Let's see. That's number 1. There's number 3. Take number 3 and put it someplace dry for right now. I mean, ideally, it'll stay someplace dry, but right now, that'll do. Is there a way I can hang it over here? That would be nice. Can I just sort of loop up and, oh, there we go. There's a little hook right here. You can't see anything I just did. Well, you get it. It's done. I had the number 2 and the number 3 sitting right next to each other inside while I was getting them set up. I was getting different readings. It's normal for thermometers to be a little bit off, but I think number 2 said it was 71, number 3 said it was 75. That's, I'm not really into that range, but hey, gives us a ballpark. There we go. Number 1 can get hung back up. I have the year written on the back of these too, so I can keep track of how long they're lasting. Turbo really did a number on some of these things, jumping all over them, just so I can keep track of how long they're lasting. Okay, so what happened over here, Turbo? Turbo's not even out here, but this was all him. That was not like that before. Okay, so you see some of what I need to do here. None of these should be on the ground. Well, some of them should. But the bulk of these big guys, they should go elsewhere. These go on the desk. I had to move all this stuff to get that heater put in, which I already said that. And just now getting around to putting everything back together. I don't know why I say just now. It's been maybe 24 hours. It's not like I waited an incredibly long time or anything. But, you know, it's one of those things where it just bugs me. I don't like having things in too much of disarray out here, because then I can't keep track of what I'm trying to get done, what I have to work with, and all of those things. You know what I mean? Or how much space I have for plants. Because, you know, this doesn't count. These aren't things that are taking up space. They go on the desk. Okay. Last one. Isn't it cute? Love this cactus. I'm going to hold off on doing it with the begonias until I've made some more room over there. Have to have a place to put them after all, right? You good there? Yeah. Things are back in order. Oh, I'll forget my Christmas cactus. Well, things aren't really in order over here, but they're back to being on the desk. That's all that matters. Need water? Yeah, probably. That's another thing. Everything out here needs water. With the situation with the weather, this video's going to be out for 2 weeks, so I don't know what the weather's like 2 weeks from now. But right now, it's extremely cold, lots of snow, and didn't have a heater in here that was reliable anyways up until yesterday. So when it's cool, I don't really like to water. And I didn't want to go ahead and water until things warmed up in here. I don't want to, you know, root rot and all that nasty stuff that comes with just the cold and wet. You can see, look at the aeroids up there. They look miserable, and those are in self-watering containers too. I actually don't know, they shouldn't have an issue. I watered them like a week and a half ago, but my aim off, did I not get the containers? That's probably what happened. So, oh gosh, where do I start? I think I'm just gonna start picking up plants and moving them so I can get my path back, and then I can get the begonias on the shelves, and then, you know, I can water. It's nice doing these things on camera. Sometimes you get to have a look at things and explore. It's nice for me to be able to reference back to things too if I ever have any questions about, you know, what the heck I was doing with a certain whatever at a certain time, particularly from year to year. So next year I'll probably be looking back at some of these videos going, what was I doing in December? How far along was I out here? It's been a little while. I've gotten some things done, finally. Actually, it didn't take that long. I didn't end up putting the begonias up top because, well, I really liked the way they looked when I set them down over here. I cleared this whole thing off, got those begonias hung up over there, and I brought them over so I'd get up on the scaffolding and lift them up, and I was like, oh, that looks nice. I wonder what they look like from down below. What will I be seeing from the shelves, or, you know, when I'm looking up at them, and it's just not the best view. I'm kind of okay with this. I'm gonna have to water them less, and I don't really want things on the floor, but that ship has sailed, right? Maybe I just move a couple of them up and see which ones are doing better. If it makes any kind of difference at all, I don't know. It probably won't. Or it knows I have enough of them. There's 5 of them over here. Why I have 5? I don't know. Why did y'all let me buy 5 of these? Okay. Do one right there. And I've set the other one down over in here. There's still some room back there. I was thinking about putting that Elastica up here, but then I set it down over there, and it's like, oh, iguana might like to have some bushy things around the cage. You know, feel a little more jungly. I need to go grab something clear to put on top of both of these. That's not going to work, right? This has actually been doing okay like that, but I think it would just be better if I could find like a, I don't know, a glass dish or something. I think you guys are going to have to share some light. Ooh, I need to be careful. Let's knock that one off. Can I make more room? No? I need to bring this guy around so it gets more light. Ooh, you got hot. I'm just sitting on the desk with the heater on. That was not a smart move. Probably wouldn't be a terrible idea to let those stay open. At least this one for a few minutes. It's really toasty in there. Yeah, the Dragon Wing begonias, remember I brought these in last minute. These took a good amount of cold before I moved them in, so I went up there from the ceiling. Other one's over here, and I still have yet to figure out what I should do with this guy, this Oncidium orchid. It was fine on the ground last year. I could just leave it on the ground, but despite me just saying I wanted to leave the begonias on the ground, I really would like to get things lifted up and off of the ground. I also don't want it to be obtrusive, right? I had moved the Xerographica, which is this guy right here. Actually, it's getting a lot of light down there. I might like it in that spot, but I took this and I put it up here, and I had to move it to put that begonia over there, but that was nice. It got it out of the way. It's nice to have a clear line of sight when looking at all this stuff. It just fits better up there, but it's not the best for light. Although this one, it's done anyways. It's just going to use its energy to put out pups because it's done flowering, so this whole thing up there is going to die, and it's just focused on putting out new growth at the base. Okay, well now I can slide these begonias over here. Is that bird poop or mealybugs? Okay, it's just bird poop. These will get mealybugs on them. Mealybugs always love these big old begonias. One of the reasons I don't tend to grow many of them. Actually, you know, you guys can just go right here for now. That's totally fine. Make it a little bit easier to water. Just need to get going on that. Everything is very thirsty. Especially that fern down there. Okay. Be able to get around you and hose. Yep, that'll work. I have a new fan. There it is. I haven't plugged it in yet. It's a Vivo Sun, so the other one's in there. That was in a video. That's a Spider Farmer. This is a Vivo Sun AeroWave E-Series. I think it's essentially the same thing. I don't think it's anything special. It came with a bunch of zip ties, and oh, I just realized that my mic isn't on. Well, you should still be able to hear me. I have a different microphone going, but I didn't have my wireless mic plugged in. It's fine. Doesn't matter. There may have been some points in the last 4 minutes where audio was stronger and weaker, but who cares, right? Woo! It is steamy in here, but all done. Everything's watered. Plants are rearranged in a way that I think is better for everything. I went ahead and I put 2 of the begonias here on this shelf right here. I have 1 up there, which you already know about, and then I have 2 on that shelf. So they're not on the ground. I fought the urge, and I lifted them up. I just know the begonias are going to do better up where they have some airflow. So hopefully this watering will do things some good. I see the basil back there, which is always just a thirsty monster, but it's really thirsty right now. Same thing with that basil down there, and I have this guy. I was hoping I'd get some more sturdy growth out of. This is the Emerald Towers basil. Got a little bit of scorch on you, huh? How about up here? That looks okay. I have this Safari Rose? Sunrise? I'm not sure which one. Aloe back here. I'm realizing that this is probably not a smart place to be keeping this aloe because, well, everything on this shelf here likes a good amount of water. That aloe is not going to want much water this winter. The aloes, agaves, mangaves, just cactus succulents in general, I don't water them much during the winter time, if, like, at all. So there's some that I just don't water them at all. Oh, okay. You don't have a drainage hole? Or is your hole clogged up? Glad I noticed that, although this guy could have used a soak, but it's been a good 15 minutes, so it's had it soak. Okay, oh, found a piece of chain. That's nifty. You don't have a drainage hole in you, huh? Oh, you're cute. Wish you had a drainage hole. Nope, no drainage hole. All right, well, that's good to know. Just put that back in there. Why don't I take that chain out? I literally, in my head, I went, don't forget that's there. Or, you know what I could do? I just take it and put it with the other chains. That way I don't have to try and remember that it's in the bottom of a pot underneath an orchid. That would make much more sense. Okay. What else? No, I guess there isn't really that much else to report. I went in and I just set the Symbit Oncidium orchid up here. I moved the rest of almost... Is it all of them? Most of the bamboo palms are over here now. Washingtonias, angel trumpets, they're all back there. They're plants that are just going to chill with things more on the cool side. This winter, not going to need a ton of heat. And things are cool on this side. Well, they used to be. I got a new seal done down here on the bottom of the garage door, and it's made a very big difference. So it's not quite as cool over here as it used to be. I also have a bamboo palm and Washingtonia over there. I don't know how much that matters. I'm going to have to move things when I bring that mule palm in, because it's going to need to go over here on this side. So I'm not sure how I'm going to do that, because everything outside is frozen. I don't know. That's a problem for tomorrow, and I just have to have my fingers crossed. Like, please let the forecast change. Like, we can just, you know, be like 25 instead of 15. That would be awesome. Not usually this cold this time of year. I don't like it. It's throwing me off. Like, big time throwing me off. This is, you know, January weather we're dealing with here, and it's been like this since late November. Okay, so what I'm working on now is just a quick little impromptu terrarium. Do y'all remember this? Got this at IKEA a few years ago, and I haven't really done anything with it. Last year I set some plants in there just to get them through until it was time to take them outside. Just some little begonias, some things from Hertz. Well, I have all this moss over here. It's live moss. And I was thinking I could just put that in there and put it on the shelf with those others. Well, that's a whole lot of reflection. Is that annoying? Does that make it any better? I think that's about the same. That's just the nature of working with plexiglass. There's going to be reflection. I'm doing my best to not get in my head and do the things that I tend to do. I was going to just have it like this. Just leave it like this and put the moss right here and then just set it on that shelf up over there where those other 2 terrariums are. Just so, you know, so I'd have something to just keep the moss alive in, keep the moss growing. But then I was like, well, it would take up less shelf space if you had it sitting up the way it should be. And then if you had some Loctite or, you know, some sort of adhesive, some spray foam, you could just build a wall back there and go ahead and just start adhering the moss to the wall. It turned into a whole thing in my head. While I do think that those things all sound like a lot of fun, I don't think I even have any expanding foam. No, I don't. So for right now, I'm just gonna stick some moss in here, and then hopefully you guys can remember down in the comments at some point to be like, hey Jeff, remember that thing you're gonna do? Get your ass together and go do it. Maybe it will happen in this video. I don't know. I will try and remember tonight to, well, I don't want to order expanding foam. That seems really dumb. I can just get that from the store. So I'm probably not going to do that. I just have to remember, run to the store and get some of that expanding foam. And I'll poke around a little. I might have some. I'm pretty sure that I do not, but maybe. I just think that'd be cute. Just to have this full of some moss in the back, put some twigs in there. It's 3 different types of moss. You know, might be nice. Right now I'm leaving it like that, and I'm leaving that thing that says please spray water because, well, that's an easy thing to forget, and it could very, very, very easily lead to the demise of this terrarium. It's not really a... Oh, no, it's a terrarium. I was going to say it's not really a terrarium. It is. It's a case that's providing an environment for plants. That's a terrarium. You know, it's about like the Wardian cases and those sorts of things, which I want so bad. For years, I've been looking for one of those big, beautiful Victorian Wardian cases. I can't find them. Then when I do, they're horribly expensive and usually not in that good a shape either. So that's a big deviation. Let me snap it all off the tripod and go put this thing on the shelf. I found a clear dish to put on top of one of those other terrariums that's over there. Try and remember to do that. I know, it's not the most beautiful thing, but it's gonna make the moss happy to be in here. Happier than they were when they were just sitting over there with like basically nothing going for them, nothing to hold humidity in. And I'm thinking I'm gonna need to order another set of those lights up there. You can chain them together so I can get 2 more and just bring them over here. That would be nice, just to have a shelf to keep the terrariums on. Yeah, that's gonna be good. That would look cool, wouldn't it? Just to have the back of it done up with some, I don't know, it's just some twigs and things, some rocks, just moss, and some tiny little plants. That'd be cute. Oh, I already went through and I rubber banded some plastic over the tops of these, but here we go. Just since I took the time to clean it, there's an extra layer of moisture holding and what is that called? Sealant? Protection. That's fine. We'll just call it protection. And I have this twine here because I went around and I wrapped up the branch that was shading all the plants on this monstera. So now that's up there. Open things up a lot over here. Have some light again for everything. Yeah, I think that's good for today. Got the plants arranged, have a path to go around everything. There's a lot more room over here on this side now because, you know, the stuff, the things, all the plants that I moved. You know, those were sticking out to like right here, those bamboo palms. I left one over here. Here, they didn't all have to be over there. What is this? It's like disintegrating in my hand. It's a leaf from this lutea down here. Can I get that out somehow? That's really bugging me. Let's go from the base. It would have made a lot more sense to begin with, wouldn't it? Okay. Yeah, so have my paths again. Robellini's over here. Probably gonna have to make some changes and move things around because I don't think the Robellini's gonna be happy with the lighting over here. Ultimately, that foxtail palm is gonna go inside. So that's what my objectives are tonight. I need to measure this container for the foxtail palm and get a basket to set that in the house with a big liner. And then same thing with that Sansevieria. And then poke around for materials to make that little terrarium over there. Okay, Next day, got those orders handled. Well, one of them. I found a really, really cheap pot from Walmart to put that Sansevieria in. And I haven't found anything for that foxtail palm yet, but that's okay. There's no rush to bring it in just yet. Thought I'd come out here and check on things in the greenhouse, cold frame, whatever you want to call it. It got pretty cold in here last night. Well, I think the lowest temperature was about 33, 34, which isn't terrible, but a little surprising because it only got down to, well, not only, it got down to like 22 last night. Well, lo and behold, I came in here and this thing wasn't on. You can tell it's not super strong as it is. You put your hand right there and it's perfectly comfortable and it's on its highest setting. I have a new heater coming in the mail. I've tried 3 different ones in here now and they've all been fairly disappointing. And there's one from Drio that I've wanted to try. So it was on a Cyber Monday sale. So I went ahead and I ordered that, but it won't be here until next week. And I just got a notification on my phone. I forgot I have a video coming out today. I need to handle that. Okay, handled that. You know, YouTube hasn't been great about sending out notifications for my videos. So I subscribed from my YouTube that I use to, you know, watch YouTube videos. I don't ever watch my own videos except for when I'm done editing them, but that way I get notified and know that the notifications are going on. It reminds me to post on Instagram, let everybody know, hey, there's a new video. Because again, Instagram doesn't always do it. So yeah, new heater will be here next week. I have another one up in the attic that I could try. It's a nice heater. It's like Mr. Heater, but it's big and it's bulky and I don't really want it in here. It's practically raining in here from the condensation. That's why I have this tucked, so it's under the shelter of the Chinese fan palms here. So far, I've gotten pretty lucky. Not lucky. It's worked out the way that I had hoped it would work out. I guess we could call that luck, depending on whether or not your glass is half full. Depends on what kind of person you are. Cold temperature so far was 17, and I think it stayed like 38 or 39 in here. So it's staying, you know, roughly 20 degrees above what it is outside, which is great. The Chinese fan palms, I would like to keep them above freezing, ideally in the mid-40s to mid-50s, but that's really pushing it. I've been thinking about maybe getting some insulating tarps to put over the top for the nights when it does get really cold, because we're not even there yet. It's not even winter yet. I mentioned I'm really thrown off by this weather. I'm loving it. I think it's so beautiful, which you can't see, but it is beautiful out there. The snow started to melt, but it looks nice. What's left of it anyways looks nice. But it's just not typically like this until, I don't know, January. And typically when it snows in November or December, it just lasts for a day or so, and then it's over. And then it's back up into the 50s or 60s, maybe even 70s. But we're in a long stretch here of temperatures well below 40. And so far we're pushing about a week below freezing. It's above freezing today. It's up to like 33 now, which is another reason why it's raining in here, because that condensation is just letting everything drip down all over the place. Are you about to sit on the pump? Yep, you're just sitting right on top of the plants. I love you, Turbo. Such a good dog. Those palm trees make a good cushion for your butt. Yeah. Thought I should give an update on what's going on in here, because I don't think I had talked about what's going on in the greenhouse yet, so that's what's going on. I think this is going to be another 2-week vlog like the other one. I used to, up until, I don't know, a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, I was vlogging, it was weekly, and it still is. A vlog comes out every week, but, you know, starting Monday, I would just vlog whatever's going on that week and have it edited and out by Saturday morning. I've started to give myself 2 weeks now. It just makes life easier and less stressful, but it's also making the videos longer, so I need to be mindful of that. I'm filming a little bit just about every single day for the vlog, and then they become very, very long. So maybe I should do is just start... I don't know. What I really need to do is upload more often, shorter videos, but when I do that, YouTube doesn't seem to like it. I thought you wanted out. Come on. Good boy. So for now, a couple videos a week is where it's staying, at least in the month of December and January. YouTube sucks in December and January for plant channels. Spent a long time getting the lights off the trunk of this windmill palm. I had them connected from this tree to the railing. It was stupid, because this needs to be moved when it gets really, really cold. For now, the forecast has changed just a smidge, so I'm thinking that I'll just roll the dice. It should be fine. Might wrap some C9 lights around it just to add a little bit of extra warmth. Do that tonight. Coldest temperature they're saying now is 18, which is still cold enough to be concerned about the mule palm, but the windmill, it should be totally fine. I found the C9, it's actually C7. The lights I was talking about wrapping around the trunk of this windmill palm. Oh, they're making my heart so happy. I found these up in my attic. I don't even know how old they are, but just, oh, it doesn't come through on video. kind of does. This is it. This is how they should all look. You just don't get this look with the LEDs. Again, it doesn't look the same on camera. Do my sunglasses help? Not really. Nope. That classic, multicolored Christmas. Oh, it's so nice. And these are warm, how they should be. I don't understand why the ones in the cold frame out there, not warm. They're C9s, and they used to get piping hot. Not anymore. What's that about? Anyways, these were out there in the greenhouse with the rest of the lights, so I brought them in, plugged them in to make sure they worked, and to let the cord on them soften up so I can get them put up. Man, these are hot. Oh yeah, I can see why we don't use these anymore. Use a lot more power, and I feel like that'll burn your house right down. But it smells a little burny. It smells very burning, actually. Is this bad? Is it because they're just old, so they have dirt on them? Probably. It smells more like a hot plastic, like when you use a toaster for the first time kind of smell. You know what I mean? Well, I'm going to unplug those for now because there's a parrot in the house. I don't know what that's off-gassing. Here's the pot I got for that Sansevieria. It was just the only option. So it's what I got. This time of year, nobody has pots. Not where I live. Hopefully this will work. I was hoping to just use it as a cash pot. And I figured this would be good. It's just, kind of a cream ivory color. It's pretty neutral. Oh, and I got peat moss and other stuff to work on that terrarium with. Oh, and I got an ornament. It's a Christmas present from my sister. This place has everything. When she was a kid, she liked those Stefan SNL things. I thought that was funny. So, yeah, there's that. I'm going to go, see about getting the Sansevieria squished in here. Hopefully not squished, but you know what I mean. See if it fits. Okay, I don't know why I hit record. I don't even have my lights on yet. I wasn't even ready to start filming, but hey, here we are. Sometimes things just start happening. I don't know if this is going to be the right size. I like that it's one of those ones where it's easy to pop the drainage holes out on. I just need a screwdriver or just anything blunt, really. I have this thing. I don't know what it is, but I bet it'll work, right? It should. Try and get the sticker peeled off of here so I can actually see the drainage holes. I could just take it out of the container every single time I want to water it, but I don't see myself doing that. And oh, if I hit the hole, that would probably help. Okay, I should use a screwdriver. There we go. All right, that worked. My mic popped right off. Going with something a little bit more practical, so I can do this the proper way, where you just take your hand and just like that. Yeah, that makes more sense than using the blunt object that made everything go crazy. I need the plant. Where's the plant? I really hope that I'm going to be able to just set this down and maybe throw some moss in there. Oh, no, guys, that looks stupid, doesn't it? I think that looks pretty dumb. Oh, do I have any moss? I should. I think I have some Spanish moss over here, see if I can reach it. I doubt I have enough to fill in all those gaps. Here we go. If I can just, fill in those gaps, even if it's just on one side, that would be fine. I really don't want to repot this time of year. They just don't need it. I talked earlier about how the succulents, they just don't do much of anything with them this time of year because, they don't want you to. Especially the Sansevierias, which I know they're Dracaenas now, but I don't know. It ain't happening in my brain. These are Sansevierias. Oh, cool. It's just focused on the leaf and not the pot. There we go. Not really much to it. I'm just sloppily trying to plug this gap with some moss. If I were doing it right, I would do it all the way up the sides here so it doesn't wobble around, but I really don't think I have enough of this to pull that off. I might. We'll see. At the very least, I just want to get the front done. If the front's done, then at least I know, one side of the pot looks good, right? Yeah, see, it just goes all the way down in there. That's such a waste. I don't want to fill this whole thing in with moss. But I would like to just, there we go. There we go. All right, that's not too bad. It looks better, right? It doesn't look quite as dumb, right? You can't see the gap. Problem is the back side is still wide open. So I'm going to go ahead and continue filling it in because I do have the moss. I don't use Spanish moss all that often. Actually, kind of surprised I even have any of it. I put some in a little terrarium inside the house. It's an open top little greenhouse thing. I'll show you in a minute. That has some of the wax amaryllis bulbs in it, and then it didn't even matter. I didn't even need to do that because I ended up filling the base of it up with Christmas ornaments. So that was just dumb and unnecessary. Okay, yeah, I have plenty. Like I said, I don't use Spanish moss very often, so may as well just get that in there. You can see a little bit of the line there on the side, but it's fine. And you see why I don't use Spanish moss all that often, right? I mean, look at this. You see that? Look at that mess. Look at that mess. What a freaking disaster. This thing. This is going to be a pain in the butt to water this winter because the soil has started to mound up higher than the edge of the pot. Well, luckily it's a Sansevieria. It doesn't need to be watered all that often. It has a leaf over here that's bugging me. I'm going to cut that off. Just give it a cut right here. Should I just go down to the base with it? Just cut it all the way out. It's the floppy leaves, they're bugging me, and I don't like, it's fine. It can go. And that'll just open things up some on the inside, which will make it easier for me to water the plant. I don't like to cut Sansevieria foliage down too far because sometimes I end up having rot problems with that. I like to make sure it's sticking up just a little bit above the soil. It's not that I cut Sansevieria foliage all that often, though. I really don't. They tend to be, you know, pretty set it and forget it kind of plants, right? Oh, I actually like it. I think that looks nice. I wasn't sure about it, but this should be good. How much you want to bet the cats are going to just destroy this? I think that is very, very, very possible. I was going to set it on the floor as a floor plant, but I don't know how well that's going to work out. I don't know what this is preserved with. Of course, it doesn't say, never does, just says how to use it, not intended for human or animal consumption. Well, yeah. Oh, how you liking that view? Well, it's because I realize that I need to give this a good spray before I take it inside. So I'm just going to set it on the ground over here and use the super soap on it. There we go. And then I'll take it inside tomorrow. I don't want to take this inside if there are any critters on it. The only downside to having brought some of the house plants in here before I take them into the house for the winter time, I generally like to just go straight into the house. I had the remodel and everything going on, so I didn't. I don't really suspect that this is having issues, but I just want to be sure because the mealybugs have been so bad this year that it just seems like a smart idea to give this a good spray, especially down into the middle. See, right here into the center of the plant, because that's where they hide. Down there deep inside, that's where the devil lives. It's where all those little mealybugs are. Okay. Come through, get the undersides. Really got to drench them. If you miss one little spot, then you could have a big problem on your hands. This stuff is safe once it's dried anyways, so that's good. I'm just going to have to make sure that wherever it goes, that it's going someplace up nice and high on a table or something like that. So I don't have to worry about the cats chewing on that moss, because you know they will. You know they're going to destroy that stuff. All right, I've got everything I need for that terrarium, which I think at this point, far enough into this video, I'll just save that for another time, a different video, because this one's long enough. And, well, it's just a whole other project. And I could only find white expanding foam. I would really prefer to use black. Not that it matters all that much. I mean, it's just going to get covered in peat moss anyways, but it would just be nice to start off on the right foot, you know? And here's what I was talking about before, the little terrarium thing that has the amaryllis in it. Just a couple of wax bulbs, and I had the moss down in there. And then I said, screw it, let's just fill it with ornaments. I think that'll look nice. If these guys ever get going, you guys need to get it moving. December 3rd, start doing something. These over here, look at them, they're about ready to bloom. Any day now. Just that one. This one's getting close. And so's this guy. It's doing its thing. The ones from Color Blends, they're off to a very slow start. This one's not doing anything. I'm actually a little worried about it. But it's still green and it's still firm. So I just got my fingers crossed. Hopefully it'll get moving. Might take them outside. Not outside. Into the grow space and stick them under a grow light. Just to like really be like, hey guys, wake up. It's warmer out there. So that might trigger them to start growing. Okay, I need to wrap that palm up with these lights. Then, I don't know, we'll pick up with what the weather's done. See how cold it ends up getting, and whether or not I get that mule paw moved inside, if I even end up needing to move it inside. All right, well, hold on. The weather did just change. I was gonna try and wrap this video up and keep it not keep it short. Already around 50 minutes, if not longer by now. But I gotta get this palm tree inside. It did look like the weather had changed, and they said, oh, it's gonna be like 18 or 20. That's according to my phone, but then when I watched the weather report, they're like, oh, it's gonna be 13 with a high of 20. Huh? They're gonna make up their damn minds about these forecasts, but that's too much of a risk. I can't handle that. It's just gonna drive me crazy. So I need to somehow get that humongous palm tree in right here. This stuff is supposed to be in the attic, not the pressure washer. This. So I gotta rearrange some things and make a spot here. This is gonna be the thing grew a lot last summer. I'm tempted to just give it a prune when I bring it in. Before I bring it in, give it a prune, because if I give it a nice prune, then I'm not going to have all that pressure up on the crown of the plant. I'll show you when we get outside. Sorry, bamboo palm. You're going to have to bear the weight of this inconvenience with the rest of us. And all these plants that I just put over here are going to have to go somewhere else. You don't want to take your pot with you? Well, it was nice having a path around everything while it lasted. I've never had things this full in this time of year. Always, mid to late January. Not enough room? Yeah, it might bust up the Bergmansia some, but it'll be fine. I'm not worried about the Bergmansia. They're tough. Could use some pruning anyways. A little prune will get this thing to branch out nicely. Hey, the aphid situation's looking much better on here. They were everywhere. I'm still seeing some. You see them? That was with a peppermint oil spray that I did. Does not want to focus. Yeah, aphids. But it was covered. That's a big improvement. Not the best testament to that systemic I was trying either. But, it's cold. The Bergmansia's not really growing, so do we really think that that's even pulling up into systemic right now? Probably not. Alright, I have to make a path. I'm going to need the dolly for this. I don't think I'm going to do this by hand. Yeah, see, it's gotten pretty tall. Why is the lid to the recycle bin open? What's that about? I have the dolly right there, so that's good. Just need to unearth it. It'll fit in there. That's not the issue. It's just I'm worried about there being too much movement on the crown of the plant. The crown being right in here. I don't know. Actually, this guy's feeling pretty sturdy. I lost my last one to, twistiness in the crown because it got really weak, but this one seems more sturdy. Oh, maybe it won't even be an issue. I don't know. Oh, and you. Ugh. He said that with such disdain. This windmill palm is the same age as that other one by the back door. The one that's 8.5 feet tall. Same age. It doesn't like to grow. I don't know. Don't know what that's about. These got repotted. I say these, I'm referring to their windmill palm. They got put into their containers in, I think it was 2019. It was in a video. This one has remained in the same container, so I probably should just try some. That doesn't matter right now. I'm not going to repot the windmill palm right now. This doesn't seem like the most appropriate time to do that. Is this full of ice? I didn't just. Oh no, it's on its side. Okay, thank God. I thought that it was completely full of ice. Cute planter, right? I've had this one for a long time. I like it. I should do something special with it. I was using it just as a cash pot for the Pindu palm this summer, but you do a fun winter arrangement there, especially since my magnolia tree broke. That snow we had, which would have been on last week's vlog, the snow that preceded this snow was extremely heavy, and it broke the lead on the magnolia. Which, I don't care. I'd say good riddance. It's a little gem, and it just has never thrived in that spot, so oh well. Makes my future decisions easier, just knowing that I have to replace it. I don't have to, but I don't think it's going to thrive as it is right now. I have to be careful with these terracotta pots. When it's cold, you barely touch them, they just crumble. Probably pull the dolly out before I start piling stuff up in front of it. Oh, here we go. The gate's frozen. I can't get back to it. That's the little gem. Used to be taller because now this piece of it right there, you see it? That was the top. I went down and I pulled it off and I stuck it down in the snow because those will make for nice greens. I can use those during the holidays. It's not going to waste. Suppose I could root it, but I don't really want more little gem magnolias. They're not my favorites. Say K. Paris. That's my preferred magnolia for where I am. In Zone 6B, the little gems, they're just too finicky. You just never know. Some of them around here are huge and do great. All right, gonna have to put a new drip head on that in the spring. But it's just never thrived. It's done fine during the summers, puts on lots of growth, but then every single year after winter, it just looks horrible. So I need to put something that's more hardy. I'm procrastinating. Wish me luck. Did it. That thing was heavy. The windmill, mule palm, no big deal. This thing, that is so heavy. I forgot that this was an extremely heavy pot. And the dolly was being used, so I just drug it and pushed it and carried it. This will work. How do I get out of here? The doors are locked. I can't walk around. I guess this is where I live now. I don't think, can I fit through here? Not very well. Probably not. My goodness, that was a tight fit. Made it through though. I was able to push everything forward, so it wasn't really that tight. Right here, that was a tight fit. Okay, so see, technically there's still a path around, except there's not. No, there's definitely not a path around anymore because well, all that space I cleared off now belongs to the mule palm. Hey, good thing I got all that stuff picked up off the ground though, right? Because now I got this in here. It's not going to stay like this. It's just for right now. I can finagle some things later. Like I said, I don't want to mess with that crown area at the top. I don't want to mess with that while it's so cold. So I figure I'm just going to bring it in, just let it chill for a day, maybe even 2. And then I'll go ahead and try and scoot it back and set it upright. It can stand upright as long as it's out of the way of the garage door, which it will be. All the snow to melt. This guy did a good amount of growing this year. Only downside to it being in this position is that it's going to be harder to get the fungicide in there. I want to make sure I spray that middle down very heavily with a copper-based fungicide because it has taken quite a bit of cold. And they can take a lot of cold, but oh, this is probably excessive. Now I want to clean the trunk up really bad too now. I love ripping these things off, but that's not something I should be doing while it's cold, but it's so satisfying. Kindling, can it's in the fire pit? Probably, right? You can see this one just started to get some trunk on it within the last year. So when you peel these guys off, and it's probably going to have mostly knobs on the trunk for a few more years. I don't know why I'm talking like that. I'm not going to keep it for that much longer because it's just freaking huge. I could start doing the thing to look as with the coconut palm where when it puts out new growth, you tie a string to it and you pull it down and that dwarfs the plants into like a giant bonsai. That's an option. I could always send it away to the greenhouse with the other palms, which is probably what I'm going to have to start doing with it pretty soon. Go. I'll make sure there aren't any big giant pockets of ice hanging out inside these crevices around the trunk. Alright, may as well. We're trying to warm the guy up. As you can see, there's some ice in there. What's snow? Snow doesn't bother me with the palms. It's pretty insulating. It's ice that freaks me out, and since we had a bunch of melting today, that means that tonight it's all going to refreeze, and then that's when there's a problem. You get ice. Okay, well that's good. I don't want to mess with it too much more. I'm gonna leave it be for right now. Give that a day or so to warm up, and then I have some heat cables somewhere buried behind the contractor's tools that I think I can wrap around the pot of the windmill palm. Here's the windmill palm should be able to get pretty cold. I just baby it and don't allow it to because it's such a beautiful looking plant. And, you know, you can't buy them that big, at least not where I live. It'd be thousands and thousands of dollars. You have to get them as little bitty plants and then wait a decade for them to put on some size. The only time I have seen them as large as the one that I have, they weren't quite as big as mine. And I think it was $4,500. What? $400 for ones that were about this tall, but they had about 3 feet of clear trunk, which is nice, but they basically looked like that one I just brought in. $400. It was before all the prices started going up. I'm talking like 8 years ago, something like that. So there's my heat cables. They're back there, and it turns out it's mostly my stuff, not so much the contractor's stuff. Stuff I had to move for the contractor's tools. Okay, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. Okay. I think we're good. Got the incandescents wrapped around the trunk here. They're nice and toasty. Nowhere near as hot as they were inside, though. Cooler air seems to help. I wrapped a heat cable around the pot here. Goes all the way around. It is overlapping. These things aren't supposed to touch, but it is warm. Just slightly warm, which is good. I have some insulating foam that I could probably grab from inside the house and try and at least partially cover the pot. I don't really think I need to do that for a windmill palm, but I have that option. Like I said, I just prefer to not move this guy in unless we're dropping below like 10. We're gonna be right on the border. I doubt it will get that cold, but you know, just better safe than sorry. I went ahead and I threw some lights up over there on the needle palms too, which just didn't go quite as well as I thought it would. Those things have gotten huge. There's 600 lights on those things. That's 600 lights. I'm gonna come in and do a check on the greenhouse, see how everything's going in here, set my drink down. I combined my hibiscus tea with my peppermint and chocolate, and I figured like, oh, that's gonna be gross. It's really not, surprisingly. Can't even taste the hibiscus, it just tastes like chocolate and peppermint. Oh, it feels nice in here. Okay, greenhouse is working, it's doing its thing. Heater stayed on. That's a relief. I think we're good. Yeah, it's gotta make it through the next couple days, and things should start to get normal again for a few weeks. Then January will happen, and be doing this all again, but it'll be better because I'll be prepared for it, because it'll be normal for those things to happen. I'm already ahead of the game with things. I'm not really ahead of the game, I'm right on time of the game. The game's on time. Okay. Only thing I don't like about the electric heater is now I don't have power to have the lights on in there. That kind of sucks. I have solar power lights in there, but they're not getting enough sun to get going, so yeah, it is what it is. I'm thinking I'm probably going to pop another heater in here tomorrow, and I'll just run, I have like some really, really, really heavy gauge, very expensive extension cords that I'll run to an outlet very far away. Is my concern is I don't want to trip any breakers. I don't have a lot of amps left on this breaker. I counted them up. I can't remember what it was, but I know I don't think I have enough left to put another heater in. And it's all for nothing if the breaker trips, right? I think I have enough to run from over there to over here, I think. Trying to think. These all go to a breaker in the house. This right here, yeah, that all goes to the breaker box over there, the fuse box over there. But I'm pretty sure that this outlet, which is what the heater's plugged into right now, isn't on the same breaker as the one over there or the one up the hill. Thing is, these three over here, sometimes they just don't work. I don't know. I'll figure it out tomorrow. Okay. Holy crap, it's cold. Wind chill, I think they said, feels like -7. This is crazy weather for this time of year. He was literally just rubbing his face in the snow. Do you like the way that feels, Turbo? Yeah, I know. You love the snow. This is the heaviest gauge extension cord I have. I don't know what gauge it is. I know that it's very big. Does it say on here? I don't know what that says. It's got numbers. I can't see it. It's good. I've run plenty of heaters from this. Never had a problem. Cord rarely even gets warm. So now they're saying that it might get down to 7 degrees tonight. I'm getting very, very, very mixed forecast. Right now, it's 48 in here. And it's 20 outside. So that's pretty good. But I figure I may as well get the other heater plugged in just to be safe. Are you coming? I thought so. I know you want to see your fish. All right, his minnow. It's one little minnow. I mentioned in last week's video that there was in fact a fish in there, but I wasn't sure what it was. So I found it. It's just a little white cloud, which makes a lot more sense. I could have sworn what I saw was a guppy, though. For reference, if you don't know, guppies, at least the type I'm referring to, are tropical fish. So they can take some fairly cool waters for short periods of time. This has been nearly freezing on multiple occasions. But the white clouds, they're called white cloud mountain minnows, they can take pretty cold water. So that all makes a lot more sense. I had a whole bunch of white clouds in there this year for breeding, and they bred. Pulled a whole bunch out, and apparently I left one behind. Well, at least one. I think there might be a few in there, and they're fine. The water is 72 in there. I had to look at the thermostat. That's plenty warm for the white clouds. All right, the other heater is plugged in. I figured with where I have it plugged in, we should be good. I'm going to sit here for a little bit, make sure the breaker doesn't trip. The outlet I plugged it into is one up on the hill. I would have showed you, but it was just too freaking cold. I had gloves on. It's hard to control the camera with the gloves on, so I took them off to start filming. The, yeah, that outlet that's up there, it went years without working, but everything that this stuff is plugged into has always worked. I mean, it would trip sometimes we had bad storms, but it was working when none of those on that side were working, so that should mean that they're on different breakers. I have my sensor in here so I can check on it throughout the night, make sure temperatures don't get too cool. And I plugged in an extra set of LED Christmas lights that pull 19 watts to the same outlet, and I strung them out over there so I can just look out the window at night and be like, are the lights on? Oh, they're on? That's a good sign. I'm not that concerned about what they're saying, you know, between 7 and probably 15, I'm guessing is what the lows are going to be tonight. That doesn't bother me so much. I'm more concerned about what's to come. Because if this is what it's like early December, I'm pretty nervous about what it might be like come January and February. So I view this more as like a good drill. Chances are, hopefully, for the rest of the month, I won't even need to have both of these running. There'll probably, hopefully, be plenty of days where they're not even on. This time last year in December, I was outside doing yard work. Right? You never know what you're going to get. And I will say, if you're in a position where you need to heat up something like this, I would really opt for a warm body of water. Because that, I swear, it makes more of a difference than these electric space heaters do. But it was kind of a give and a take sort of situation. Because the water in here got cool enough, I think it was around like 45, 50, that the heater was really struggling to warm it up. But then once I brought the space heater in here, and then we had some sun, and that helped the space heater out, and I got up to about 50, then the water temperature was able to go up, and that helped the heater get up, and the heater's been able to keep it up. And so this heater hasn't had to run as strong. So before the water was warm in there, we were averaging about 15 to 20 degrees above the outside temperatures. Now that water's warmed up, it's averaging more like 25 degrees above what's going on out there. And there's going to be variables that come into play too, right? Wind and moisture, mostly wind, right? That's going to have a lot to do with it. And then sun. If the sun's out, that's going to heat things up in here during the day, right? Well, partially. About from like right here, that 2/3 of the greenhouse is fairly shaded from the pine trees, but it's still a lot of morning sun coming in here. Yeah, okay. That's all. I mean, you can get big barrels from places for really cheap, like really, really cheap. A friend of mine used to get them from like vape stores, I think weed shops. Sometimes you get them for like $50. You get these big barrels, wash them out really, really well, put a pump in there to circulate the water, and throw an aquarium heater in there, or a trough heater if you can. Warm that water up, and it just slowly releases that heat. It's just much more stable, and it helps with the humidity so much. One of the issues I have in these types of environments is the air getting too dry. But it is nice and moist in here, that's for sure. Hi, baby. I know. Don't look at my recycling bin. Alright, yeah, I'm going to hang out in here for a little bit, see what happens with the temperature, and make sure that breaker doesn't trip. The next day had two different readings, 10.6 and 12.6 to 12.9. It was going in between. It shows up on a graph, and you have to drag your fingers, and it can be hard to hold still in the lowest point, so that's what we're thinking the low was last night.
Celsius.
Okay, -10 is... What is that? I already forgot what it said. You saw it. -23-ish Celsius. I'm going to say -23 to -26. We were somewhere in there last night. Celsius. Just forgot my sunglasses. And go out there and see how everything's looking. Pumpkin, you want to say hi? I don't know if you've been in the video. Say hi, Pumpkin. Yeah? Thanks, Pumpkin. And give everybody a kiss. No, a little smooch. A little smooch. Oh, thanks, Pumpkin. You're so sweet. Amaryllis bloomed. Look at that. This one was just barely opening yesterday, and then I got up and there were two open. This one hadn't even been trying. Got my tea brewing. Just want to make sure I have everything checked out before I go out there. When I go to that greenhouse, I tend to sit in there for a while. It's become a nice, relaxing place. I don't know why. It must be the water. Then it's not really hot and it's not really cold. Well, it has been really cold, but you know what I mean. Okay, you ready, baby? Ready? He's been so excited to get outside. Here you go. Your freedom. Oh, and it's not -10, -12 right now. It is, I believe, about 34, 35. Warmed up quite a bit. since last night. Actually, this is the warmest day we've had in probably 7 to 10 days, I think. Windmill looks fine. Is it cold damage? It just takes a while to show up. So if there is something wrong, we won't know it for a while. Probably several weeks. Wouldn't be a bad idea, though, to come in here with some of that copper-based fungicide and really give the center of this a nice drench. Probably do that every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks for the next a few months. I know. You ready to go see your fish? You ready, Turbo? Yeah. But there's one problem, though. You don't have thumbs. So I'm going to need you. Can you step back here? Turbo, can you get back? Come on, get back. There you go. Good boy. You're so smart. Always fascinates me how dogs understand commands that you've never taught them. You know, they just pick up on those things. Okay. Oh, it feels good in here. Feels really nice. All right. And the coldest temperature that the sensor in here recorded last night was, I believe, 53. That's pretty dang good. And it's up to 69 right now, 68.7. So, I'm say good going in here. I think I'll need to set the other heater onto a thermostat because I don't need 2 heaters running in here all the time. But I'm pretty sure I mentioned this for the sake of the Chinese fan palms. Okay, didn't know if I was going to have to rescue them there. For the sake of the Chinese fan palms, it would be nice to keep things above 45, 40. Last year, I didn't really care. I just wanted it to stay above 15. That was my goal. I had windmill palms in here. And I think maybe some of the sables, the fig, the oleander, the fatsia, and I think the pindu was in here. But the Chinese fan palms, they're just not as hardy. That being said, these have been down to 17 so far. That was just a random cold snap. It wasn't supposed to get that cold, but they handled it. But again, it can take a while for cold damage to show up. And there is, you can actually already see some of the cold damage. You can see some of that, and I'm pretty sure I showed some that was on one of those fronds over there. I don't expect these to be looking pristine come springtime. But just, you know, as long as they're alive in the middle, and you get them lots of fertilizer, and each trunk throws out, you know, 3 to 5 new leaves, then they're going to look really nice come mid-season, midsummer. Hey, look at that. Water temperature finally hit 78. That took several days. It got really cold, and then it wasn't very warm in here. I would imagine that that's a temperature that's going to drop significantly if we were to drop to a temperature cold enough that it couldn't keep it above 50 or 60 in here. Which, I don't know. We'll have to see what kind of temperatures those would be at this point. My main thing is I want to be secure should we have those temperatures where we're going to be below 0. Because it probably will happen, despite this being a Zone 7. It's not a Zone 7. But that's what they're saying these days. We almost always drop below 0. Our average may be much higher than that, but we drop below 0 on plenty of occasions. So, hopefully we can, at the very minimum, just keep things above 25. That would be good. In short bursts, right? I'm not talking prolonged temperatures below freezing. But 25 to even, 20 for a brief period would be okay for everything in here. Especially since we've got the warm thing of water, which will hopefully be able to keep warm. That's one of the reasons that... Well, he figured out the zipper. Okay. He's done with us. Bye, Turbo. I don't know what the heck I was talking about. What was going on in here in my brain? Air cools a lot faster than the water does, so even if we have a sudden drop and things get pretty cold out here, that's going to hold on to warmth much longer, especially if I were to shut off the fountain, or I could even just cut the hose and put a diverter on there. They make diverters where they have a little, like a knob you can turn with a piece that comes out this way that you just leave open. So you shut it off, it just shoot the water down back in and circulate from down below without having the turnover on the surface, which mixes in the colder air. I could also just put a stronger heater in there if I wanted to, which I may end up doing. It actually never hurts to have 2 heaters. 2 heaters are more like half what you need in case you have some that go bad with your fish tanks, because sometimes you'll have a heater that's just like, whoa, I'm going to make it 100 degrees in here, and then you lose all your fish. Or you'll oftentimes, about every 18 to maybe 24 months. I've had this one for a good 4 years now. A lot of heaters you have to replace every couple of years. Not always. They just make everything like total crap these days. So it's a good idea to have 2 heaters anyways, because one dies and you still got one running for backup. Maybe it won't keep it as warm if you're going about half the size that you would need. That's I just deviated into fish lane, sorry. I was referring to the pond, so that's what that was all about. I was just talking about keeping that pond nice and warm. 78's pretty toasty in there for that White Cloud Mountain minnow, though they can take it. They can take some warmer temperatures as long as there's a lot of oxygen in the water. It's not sharing that water with anything else right now that I'm aware of. And it has the fountain on top, keeping things turned over. And there are some live plants in there, so... White Cloud, what I'm talking about, it's a minnow. There's a minnow in there. And I will probably scoop up something from the local fish store to put in there for a turbo, because he has figured out that he can't find the minnow. And it makes me so happy seeing him watch the fish. If I could do it all again, which I totally can, this is portable, I could move this. I would set this on top of heat cables, just like the kind you put on top of your roof to melt the snow. I think that would have been a great idea, but I didn't know when I moved this over here. It was over there when I got it last spring, then I moved it over here. I wasn't certain when I did that I would want to keep it here. I really didn't know what the plan was for sure at all. I'd been saying in my head, oh, what would be really nice would be to get a bigger greenhouse that I can fit over everything right here. Wouldn't that be cool? But I just didn't really think I would do it for some reason. Like, I was subconsciously doubting myself, but not totally subconsciously, because I knew that I was doubting myself, but I was like, I don't know, maybe. Well, here we are. Did it. And as long as everything stays standing and doesn't blow away, should be in pretty good shape this winter. Then in a few days, which will be a few days prior to when this video comes out, things should be more dry outside, hopefully. This was a lot of snow. I think they said a total of 10 inches over the week. I think we almost broke a 140-year record, if I'm remembering that correctly, for snow and cold. What was I going to say? I'm going to tape up these things so that air is not coming in from down below. I think those will be really nifty when it's warm out, but I would rather just open the doors up if it gets warm. And if I'm going to put a thermostat in here, maybe I'll go ahead and just get 2 and put a fan up there so that if it does get too hot, there's air movement. Wouldn't hurt to have a fan in here, period, but you know, there's only so much electric and things aren't really going to be high-tech in here. They don't need to be. I don't know if I'll have any luck with this, but I do need to go get some sandbags, but our hardware stores don't really have anything anymore as far as sand and mulch and the soil. It's all just Christmas trees and empty lots. So I don't necessarily know what to do there, but I do need something to put down for weight over here. I know I could use cinder blocks, but I don't want to have to figure out what to do with cinder blocks throughout the rest of the year when the greenhouse isn't up. I have some out there, but I really should be using this to set the heaters on top of, which I meant to do. I need to do that. What the heck was... Oh, I think it was just turbo. Yep, it was just turbo. It's like, what the hell's out there? It's just you, Habibi. How you doing? Did you come back to check on your fish? Do you have an adventure? Did you see your friends? Yeah, okay, go look at your fish. You're free. Enjoy. Go look at your fish. There you go. Yeah, see, I need to drop a couple of goldfish or something in there. I am debating draining this down, not completely, just most of the way. Just enough so that I can lift it up and put one of those cheap heat cables underneath it. Probably put a thing of that reflective foil with the bubbles in it. Then put the heat tape on it and set that on top, because heating it from underneath would be much, much, much more efficient and even. And probably cost effective. But that's also a lot of work, and I don't know if I feel like doing that. Only reason I would do that is because now my head's been spinning going, oh, well, if we can keep it in the 50s in here when it's down to 10 degrees outside, then I can do much more exciting things with fish in this pond. But it didn't really get a good test to see how long it takes this water to cool off. That's something else. So I was talking about the thermal mass and all that, whatever. This holds on to warmth much longer. However, it will get cold and it takes longer to heat up. So if we were to have many, many, many nights below, I don't know, 30, which we will. We typically, during winter, have multiple weeks that go by where we never go above freezing. Then what's it going to be like in here? This is just 1 week. What's it going to be like when we're talking 6 to 8 weeks, right? Although, like I said, I could just pop another heater in there. That really would not be that big of a deal. It wouldn't even take much either. The heater that's in there is pretty efficient. I would probably just need to drop a small one in there. And the heater that's coming to replace this one or this one, I haven't decided which one I'm going to scrap. One of them's got to go, because they're both pretty crappy heaters. I think it's going to be much more efficient. We will see. So if I can keep things, you know, around 50 to 65 in here, that will stay heated up to the mid-70s, no problem. And then I could have some of my more tropical type fish out here all year. Gets pretty risky, though. If you have a power outage, then you lose the plants and potentially the fish. If it gets really windy and this thing blows away or gets torn open, our winters are extremely, extremely windy. I don't know how people pull off the inflatable Christmas. How are you doing that? Well, you're not, actually. Almost everybody I see who has them, they're just laying on their sides pretty much all the time. The ones that are up right now look pretty good, but it hasn't been all that blustery. This is set back further, so there's a wall right on the other side of that plastic, and I can anchor into the ground over there, but I got nothing for this side. I have a very heavy pot sitting right there. I'm just going to start taking really heavy pots, I think, and setting them around the sides. That'll look nicer than bricks and sandbags anyways. There is one thing I am considering, though. You can drill these can you see? No, all the posts are covered. Well, the posts that come in the corners, they have holes in them. You can anchor them down into the ground. And I have that very nice new DeWalt that I'm using to use those augers. You know, I got the Garden Answer and the Creekside, the big augers. That would tap into this ground. No problem. I really don't want to drill holes in the concrete. But I could just drill one right around here and hook a ratchet strap to it that would go up and over, and then I could attach it to a ground stake that's in the yard over there. It would just be the one strap, but I mean, one ratchet strap with enough tension on it should be plenty, I would think. In my head, I feel like 3 would be appropriate, though. One here, one in the middle, and then one there. But I think that's just my too much gene kicking in. I don't know. Y'all let me know what you think. I have never actually drilled into concrete before. I don't know how to do it. I have a bit to do it, but I've never done it. So if that's something that I probably shouldn't do, let me know. But I figured, you know, just one little hole, especially if I do it just a couple feet over from here, because that's typically where the table is throughout the rest here. I just scoot the table that way to make this fit right here. But when this isn't set up, there's a table right about here, so you wouldn't even be able to see where I drilled the hole to attach the ratchet strap, right? I don't know. Hey, you know what? This has been a fun, long video. Grow space is finally in order, looking good. I mean, it has a giant palm tree sitting in it now, but I'll get that pushed back and get it set up properly. And I'm going to get back to doing things with the decor and the seating area that I was working on in last week's video once the snow melts here in a few days, which, like I said, I think we're supposed to like 45. Maybe a little bit warmer than that just a few days before this video comes out, so it's not going to be warm, but it'll be closer to average for where we live. It's probably going to be wet and gross out here for a long time, though. This is so good for that drought. That drought that we had was awful, and nice, heavy snowfall that melts away really slowly is so good for recovering from a drought. That just helps the water trickle back into the ground as long as the ground isn't frozen solid, which it isn't right now. I don't know what the temperature is, but it's not frozen solid. At least I hope it's not, because I still have a lot of stuff I need to plant. I'm usually still planting in December. This isn't normally an issue. So, and I'm not afraid to plant in the snow. I might go do it right after we get done here. It's up to 35 or 36, and it feels like a summer vacation now because it's been so cold the last several days. Feels great. Let me know any fun plants you might think of that could go in here. The other thing I did forget to mention is that if I can maintain these temperatures, which I don't know why I couldn't, then I think I will probably move all of the bamboo palms that are in the grow space and the Washingtonias into here, because I can line that back here with the bamboo palms. They should be fine. They can take some cold, so if it does drop into the teens in here briefly and it stays dry, they will survive. And the Washingtonia, same thing. As long as they stay dry, it'll be okay as long as it's brief, right? Typically, I want things to, you know, hopefully not have prolonged periods in here where it's below 40. But it's probably going to happen at some point. So whatever I put in here would need to be able to handle prolonged periods below 40 and into the mid-teens, probably. Once I bring in all those bamboo palms and the Washingtonians, there won't be much room for anything else. Oh, do you know what I just remembered? Oh no, I did something bad. All that planning and all that prep. Thought that I really had things nailed down in here. Shoot. I meant to move these in before the snow. Oh well. I mean, I think it's fine. I really don't want both of those in the thing anyways. So, yeah, it's okay. The strawberries will be fine. They're going to look junky for a while. The chives, they should be fine. Rosemary actually looks okay. They can take a good amount of cold, so apparently it's fine. The heck is this? That looks like mint, but there's absolutely no way. And it smells like... Oh, well, yeah, no, mint is fine. I was thinking of basil. Yeah, the mint, yeah, it can take cold. Looks like even some of the thyme is down there and doing all right. Some of the oregano is even still looking okay. All right, okay, this isn't so bad. But what I should do, and not right now, would be to try and consolidate things into one and move just one of these in there. I don't want them both in there. It's too much. They take up too much room and they're a pain in the butt to water. I did order an extension hose for, I love him so much, for my fish gravel cleaner thing. It hooks to the sink and it reaches just barely to that water that's in there, that fountain. But I got an extension, so I'll be able to use that because I'm going to need that to water the plants in there because I don't have hoses and things during the winter time. All right, okay, that's good. It's time to go. This video ended up getting way too long. I hope everybody's doing well. Having a great day, great life, and it's doing absolutely beautifully for you. I love watching the snow melt. Keep on growing. Bye-bye. Turbo, you ruined the outfit.